So this was the bonus assignment for the Chapter 2 test review. It's on page 113, number 1 through 26. So I'm assuming you have your book available, because I'm just going to write through the answers here. So on number 1, it says, use two inequalities using each pair of numbers. Use the symbols less than and greater than. So the first two numbers are 7 and negative 5. So you could just start by saying 7 is greater than negative 5. And you can also say that negative 5 is less than 7. So that's the way you can write two inequalities, is you just put one number first the first time and the other number first the second time. On number 2, same instructions. Our numbers are negative 1 and 0. So negative 1 is less than 0, and 0 is greater than negative 1. So you do need both of those in your answer, not just one or the other, but both. 3, the two numbers are negative 21 and negative 22. Okay, and just to point out, it doesn't matter if I always do this number first or not. So I can do negative 22 first, and that's less than negative 21. And negative 21 is greater than negative 22. Okay, I will show number 4 just because it's multiple choice. So, I know that shows the answer already, but that's okay. A scuba diver records her depth in the lake every minute. Choose the group of depths that is listed in order from least to greatest. Okay. So we want to start with the smallest number. So as I look here at A, I'm just going to explain each one. Negative 13 is low, negative 12 is higher, negative 9 is higher, negative 3 is higher, negative 1 is higher. So up until this point we're good. But then that, negative 5, is lower than negative 1. So it's that number in its misplacement that makes A no good. Okay, B starts off okay. Negative 5, negative 3, negative 1. Then right here is where it goes backwards. Negative 9 is going back down. So B is no good. Okay, C goes off incorrectly right away because negative 12 is bigger than negative 13. So it just went from a number to a smaller number instead of least to greatest. So D works because we are getting bigger every time we move to the right. So that's why D is the correct answer. Okay, so 4 is D. 5, find each sum or difference. Okay, so here's where we have to remember the rules. Here's the problem. I'm just going to make a line to make this a little more clear where we're starting and stopping. We're adding numbers that have the same sign. The rule is when you add numbers that have the same sign, just add the two numbers together, 3 plus 7, and keep the sign they both have, which is negative. So when the signs are the same, add the numbers together and keep their sign. Okay, on number 6, we're switching gears and we're doing subtraction. With subtraction, our first step is always keep, change, change. So we keep the 7 as it is, change the subtraction to addition, and change the sign of the second number, so it makes it a positive 5. So it turned into 7 plus 5, which is positive 12. We have negative 4 plus 11. So we're back to addition, so we've got to think about the addition rules. The addition rules say if we're adding numbers that have different signs, we have a negative here and a positive here, we subtract those two numbers, which is 7, and we keep the sign of the bigger one, which is the 11. 11 is positive, so our answer is positive 7. Number 8, 11 plus negative 13. So it's the same rule that we just used on number 7, because we are adding and we're adding different signs. So the rule then is to subtract the two numbers, and we keep the sign of the bigger number. Well, 13 is bigger, and it's negative, so we make the answer -2. Nine, 3 minus 11. That's a subtraction problem, so our first step is to keep the first number, change subtraction to addition, and change the positive 11 to a negative 11. So now we switch gears to the addition rules, and the addition rules say when we're adding numbers that have different signs, we subtract them, and we keep the sign of the bigger number, which is the 11, so the answer is -8. Number 10, we have -21 minus -6. Anytime you see subtraction, the first step is keep, change, change. Keep the -21, change the minus to a plus, change the sign of the second number. So we end up with -21 plus +6. So we think about the addition rules. They say if we're adding numbers of different signs, we subtract the two of them, and we keep the sign of the bigger number, which 21 is bigger than 6, so we keep the sign of the 21, which is negative, to make our answer -15. Okay, 11. We have three numbers, 13 plus -2 plus -9. Always start with just the first two numbers first. So focus just on the 13 plus -2. So I'm ignoring this for the moment, just looking at 13 plus -2. That's an addition problem, and I'm adding different numbers. So the rule is I subtract the two numbers and keep the sign of the bigger one, which is +13. So these two put together equal 11. Then I add -9 to it. So I took care of 13 plus -2 first. That gave me 11. Now I incorporate the third number into 11 plus -9. Again, the rules for addition are that if you're adding different numbers, you subtract the two from each other, and you keep the sign of the bigger number. Well, 11 is bigger than 9, so we make it a +2. Number 12, -4 minus -8. It's a subtraction problem, so you have to do keep, change, change. We keep the -4, change subtraction to addition, change the -8 to a +8. The addition rules say when we're adding two numbers with different signs, we subtract them, and we keep the sign of the bigger number, which is the 8, so it's a +4. Jack played in a 4-day golf tournament. His score at the end of each day is shown in the table. What is his final score at the end of the tournament? So I'm using the table in order. He had a -3 the first day, and then he had a +1 the second day, so I'm really adding a +1. He had a +4 the second day, so I'm adding a +4. Then he had a -1 the last day, so I'm going to add a -1. Because we're really adding all of his scores together. And like I said, we need to move from left to right and just do two at a time. So first I'll just focus on -3 plus 1. The addition rules say that when you're adding numbers that have different signs, subtract them and keep the sign of the bigger number, which is negative, so we'll get -2. And I'm just rewriting the answer, or the question below that. So I've taken -3 plus 1, and it's now down to being -2. So now I focus on these two numbers, -2 plus 4. We're adding numbers with different signs, so we subtract them. Keep the sign of the bigger number, which is the 4, so it's a +2, and then we add the -1 at the end. So now we're down to just two numbers. The addition rules say that if you're adding numbers of different signs, you subtract them, and keep the sign of the bigger number, which is the 2, so our answer is positive. So his overall score for this 4-day tournament was +1. Okay, so for 14 through 21, we're multiplying and dividing. Remember the rules for that are that if the signs are the same, the answer is positive. If the signs are different, the answer is negative. I get 7 times -6. So 7 times 6 is 42, and the signs are different, so the answer is negative. -15. -36 divided by -6. 36 divided by 6 is 6, and since the signs are the same, the answer is positive. 16. 54 divided by -6. 54 divided by 6 is 9, and since the signs are different, we have one positive and one negative, the answer is negative. Okay, 17, -5 times -9. That parenthesis, see, there's no operation between the -5 and the parenthesis, so it's assumed we multiply. So 5 times 9 is 45, and since those signs are the same, they're both negative, the answer is positive. So if signs are the same, like they were in 15 and 17, the answer is positive. If signs are different, like they were in 14 and 16, the answer is negative. (18), we have -4 times 7. 4 times 7 is 28. The signs are different, so our answer is negative. Okay, 19 may take a little more work. May or may not be one you can do in your head, and that is okay. So -95 divided by 5. So like I said, that's probably not one you can easily do in your head. So just set it up like you learned long division a long time ago. 5 goes into 9 one time. 1 times 5 is 5. 5 goes into 45 9 times. So our answer is 19. And because the signs are different, one negative, one positive, our answer is negative. Different signs mean a negative answer. Okay, 20. We have 2 times -3 times 10. So just like we did when we were adding and subtracting up here in 13, we have more than two numbers, this time we're multiplying. We still follow the same rule of just focusing on the first two numbers first. So 2 times 3 is 6. And since the signs are opposite, the answer is -6. And I'm just bringing down that 10 right there. -6 times 10 is 60, and it's negative because our signs are different. So different signs means the answer is negative. Okay, 21 is one you may not know how to do in your head, so I'm going to set it up like we do the other one. It's -132 going into 11. So since the signs are different, I know my answer is going to be negative. Well, I may not have room there, so let's see. 11 won't go into 1, but 11 goes into 13 one time. I multiply, subtract. 11 will go into 22 twice. So again, because the signs of the original, which was -132 divided by 11, were different, our answer will be -12. Number 22. The water in the swimming pool drains at a rate of 24 gallons per minute. Whenever you see the word per, think times. So describe the change in the amount of water in the swimming pool after 1 hour. Now the pool is draining, so it is losing water. So its rate is really negative 24 gallons per minute. 1 hour is equal to 60 minutes. So we need, if it loses 24 gallons in 1 minute, we need to multiply that by 60 to figure out how many gallons it loses in an hour, because an hour is 60 minutes. Now, if I give you a question like this, you will be allowed to use your calculator, so I'm not going to do it the long way and just tell you that negative 24 times 60 is negative 1,440 gallons. So the pool lost 1,440 gallons over a period of an hour. All right, nearly there, just 4 more. 23, they tell us to find CA minus B. And if you look at the instructions, they tell us that C is equal to negative 9, A is equal to negative 3, and B is equal to 6. So we must make sure that we are plugging in the correct numbers in the correct place and that we follow the order of operations. So the order of operations tells us we should multiply first. So 9 times 3 is 27, and because the signs are the same, the answer is positive. So 27 minus 6 is 21. Okay, 24. Absolute value of BC divided by negative absolute value of A. So once again, step 1 is to plug things in the right places. So B is equal to 6. C is equal to negative 9. A is equal to negative 3. There's a lot going on in this problem. So as I've told you in class, treat the absolute value signs just like parentheses. So we should actually do them first. We'll need to multiply inside here. 6 times negative 9 is negative 54. And it's negative because the two signs are different. And the absolute value of negative 3 is positive 3. So notice, this minus, or this negative I should say, it stays. Anything outside the absolute value doesn't change. But what's inside the absolute value does. So it goes from subtracting a negative 3 to subtracting a positive 3. Now the absolute value of negative 54 is positive 54. And then we're left with division. So 54 divided by negative 3. So I know my answer is going to be negative because I have different signs and I'm dividing. So 3 going into 54. 3 goes into 5 one time. 1 times 3 is 3. 5 minus 3 is 2. Bring down the 4. 3 goes into 24 18 times. And again, because the signs are different, the answer will be negative 18. We have 4b plus the absolute value of A. So I plug in 6 for B and negative 3 for A. So I do what's inside the absolute value first because I treat that like parentheses. So we have 4 times 6 plus positive 3. Following the order of operations, we would then multiply next. 4 times 6 is 24. And finally we add 24 plus 3 is 27. Last one, 26. AB over C minus 6. So I'm just plugging in what everything is equal to. A is negative 3. B is positive 6. C is negative 9. So on top, negative 3 times 6 is negative 18. It's negative because the signs are different. Negative 18 divided by negative 9 is positive 2 because the signs are the same. When the signs are the same, the answer is positive. So we have 2 minus 6 So we have to do keep, change, change. We keep the 2, change subtraction to addition, change the positive 6 to a negative 6. So finally we use the addition rules, which say if you're adding different signs together, then you subtract them and keep the sign of the bigger number, which is the 6. So our final answer is -4. Good luck. Make sure you study your rules on adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing. If you've got those in your memory, I think you'll do a great job.